Hey, sorry about that. Video ran out. Apparently had a time limit that I'm using on this free web maker or web video maker. Sorry. I just finished up this cosecant graph that we were talking about. And just to kind of reiterate, we need to label these dots and make sure they're correct. Halfway between this asymptote and this asymptote would be 1.5 pi's, or as we like to say, 3 pi over 2. Look, 3 pi, halfway there. See how that works? And that's down at -3. This is one period. Sometimes they'll ask you to graph 2 periods worth and get these labels down. So just make sure you're aware of that. One more graph here, secant. There's the parent graph. The period, let's go ahead and flip and multiply that. 8 pi. That's a 2 pi divided by 1/4. Flip and multiply 8 pi. Let's make sure we get these labels down and get these asymptotes in there. So the secant graph has asymptotes basically at the 1/2 pi and then again at another 1/2 pi. So one full period in this case would be from -1.5 pi's to 1/2 pi, which would be a total of 2 pi distance. So if I'm going to cover that, 8 pi, I want to break this up. So this would be half of it. So 4 pi would be half of it. I'm going to go -2 pi to the left, 2 pi to the right. Probably stretch these out too far. Oh well. And then I'm going to have to go another full half period. So that's a full half period. That's like -6 pi way over here. Somewhere over here. Yeah, I got this stretched out a little bit funky. Sorry about that. Now, let's move those dots. I got a y-intercept of 1. A y-intercept normally here, right here at 1. But we're going to stretch it to 3. And then we're going to add 1. So it's right on the y-axis right there. So let's put a dot at 4 because it was at 1, got stretched to 3. It was normally at 1 on the parent graph. And then got stretched to 3 with the amplitude and then up 1. And the graph should just go up and along the asymptotes that direction. I don't have any asymptotes to curve up to, but you get the idea. Let's do the dot that's normally down here on this side, okay? And it's normally halfway between these asymptotes. So this halfway between these asymptotes would be at -4 pi. And it's normally at -1, but got stretched to -3, and then it went up 1. So we're going to have a dot right there at -4 pi, comma, -2. And the curve will still go off towards the asymptotes. So these are the flips and some, as we call them, children graphs of the parent graphs that we just learned. Let's take a look real quick. I do want you to check them on Desmos. Desmos gives away every little thing. I know that. I need to trust that you're going to try to figure this out and play with these numbers. That's where the real math is, not just copying down the graph. I hope you can buy into that with me. So let's check the graphs. I got a cotangent graph. So they don't show the asymptotes, but they do show these intercepts, and they put them in radian form. So I got an intercepts at the -2 pi and 2 pi. So my guess is there's an asymptote right at y equal 4 pi. In fact, you can come over here, type in y equal, excuse me, not y equal, I said y equal, oops, x equal, and you can type 4 pi, and you can see that there is an asymptote right down in between there. So that definitely checks, and this graph seems to check exactly what we did on this one. At the 2 pi's, asymptote at 4 pi. Let's go back to Desmos. Okay, let me turn that one off. We'll look at the next one. The next one is 2 secant 1/3 x minus 1. Okay, and we've got our minimum at 3 pi over 2 comma 1. And let's take a look. Whoops, sorry. Let's take a look. Did we? Yep, right there. 3 pi over 2 over 1. So that one also seems to check. And if you look again at the secant graph, also that one, hang on, let me get it going. This one will check too. We had the intercept at 0,4, and one of the mins was at negative 4 pi negative 2, and the asymptote's dead center in between, and that's exactly what we got over here. I really hope these videos are helping. Use me on office hours if you need more help.